Welcome back to the Writer's Block, our weekly look at all things sports. I'm Jenny Carlson here in the newsroom at the Oklahoman, joined by Cedric Golden in the newsroom of the Austin American-Statesman. Hello, my friend.
What's going on today, Jen?
Hey, we're just trying to stay a little high and dry here in Oklahoma. We'll see what we can do for the next 20 minutes or so. I think we'll be all right. But I don't know about the Warriors. Cedric, let's lead off with the lead. Let's look at that NBA Finals. It's now 2-1 Toronto. Who you got winning this thing now? This is kind of an unexpected result.
It really is. No one saw Klay Thompson getting hurt, and the Splash Brothers have been reduced to a Splash Brother. And Steph Curry, is great as he is, he can't do it by himself. I think Klay Thompson's probably going to be ready for Game 4, and if he can give them 80% of what he usually gives them, I still have Golden State winning the series. Kevin Durant, people are rumblings that he may play. I've told you before, I just don't know that he's ever going to play for Golden State again. He's there for support, but he's not doing 3-on-3 yet, and he's not running up and down a basketball court. And we know he's probably not in basketball shape anymore. He's been about a month since he got hurt. So I think if Klay Thompson doesn't come back in this next game, Golden State's probably going to lose, and they're going to lose this series. But if he comes back, I still have the Warriors winning in 7.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, the drama of this series with Golden State. Now, let's say, around the basketball world, I don't know if a lot of people are crying for the Warriors and Steve Kerr only having Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And DeMarcus Cousins, obviously, although he doesn't look to be in great basketball shape yet either, it's hard to get thrown into a series, where guys are playing at a high level, and obviously the challenge being what it is. But, I'm with you, Cedric. I mean, I think it is really going to be a challenging series for the Warriors because, I think it has been said that, if Durant is able to practice, it's basically, a practice or shoot around and then he's go, which, I'm sure he will have an impact even if that is the case. But it's still a lot to ask of a guy who hasn't been shooting, with his normal form. He hasn't been running. He hasn't been in contact situations. So how does that look? How does he perform? I'm sure he will help those other able-bodied 100% go guys just by drawing defenses and doing some things that, a guy like a Sean Livingston or whomever, Andre Iguodala, wouldn't necessarily command that kind of attention. And yet, I wonder, Cedric, when you look at this series with all these Warriors being hurt, where the Raptors are, is this a little bit of a pull back the curtain on Steph Curry? How good is Steph Curry? He's always had some other pieces. I know, as I said, Draymond's still available in that rotation. He's got some other guys available to him, but how much is this on Steph Curry at this point to really show just how great he is?
It's all on him right now, and boy, he put on a show, Jen, in Game 3 with 47 points, 25 at the half. He just as good as people think he is, and he's probably one of the most underrated finishers at the bucket that's ever played the game. He's not a huge guy, but he gets in there and among the trees, and he can finish. So he knows that it's on him. And the true measure of greatness is, what do you do when the chips are down? And the chips are down for Golden State. Yeah. That's a walking mash unit, Jen. Andre Iguodala's banged up. Klay's hurt. Durant's hurt. Kevon Looney's probably out for the series with a collarbone injury. So those guys are all hurt. And what you have here is kind of a culmination of what happens when you're in the finals every year. That sometimes comes back to catch up with you. More than 82 games. You're talking about another 28 to 30 playoff games. So that's a lot. Well, it's probably, if you're not sweeping people. So I think that Steph Curry has shown that he's an all-time great based on what he's done. I think Draymond Green's having a hell of a series. They don't have enough horses right now. You get Klay back, it's a series. If you don't get Klay back, you don't get Durant back, they're going to be celebrating. We're going to have to suffer through Drake dancing in Jurassic Park. Maybe one of those dinosaurs will step on him.
Well, I think that it is likely to swing the Raptors' way if we don't see some of those all-stars come back for the Warriors. It's interesting you mentioned Steph as an all-time great, and he'll have all these championships, and even if he stopped now, he's got multiple championships. Has not been a Finals MVP. If they win, it's likely he would be, since he's carried such a load. But he has changed the game in so many ways. And Cedric, you're right. I mean, he's a great finisher. He's got so many skills, and it kind of gets overshadowed by his three-point ability. But a smaller guy who shoots it like he does has really been transformational in all of basketball. I mean, we're starting to see this first generation of Steph disciples, if you will. Trae Young pops to mind from right here in our neck of the woods, a smaller guy who's a great ball handler, but has that three-point range. I think we're going to start to see more and more guys that fit that Steph mold, but I will say, right now, I have a hard time picking against Toronto in this one. It's just, and I think it's going to be so interesting to see how does this change the free agent landscape. I mean, I think we already knew this was going to be a huge summer. Where does Durant go? Is Kawhi leaving? This talk that sprung up that Kawhi has bought some sort of residence in Toronto. Does that mean he's staying? Does that mean he just likes Toronto? He wants an off-season home? I don't know. But if he wins in Toronto, does that mean Kawhi stays in Toronto? It seems like it's pointing that way, Sed.
I don't know, man. If I had to pick, Jen, I'd go Kawhi loves Toronto. He wins in Toronto. Kawhi really loves LA, though. Kawhi's from LA.
Yeah.
The weather is better in LA than Toronto. Toronto is the coolest city in Canada. Not even close. But when you look at a 26-year-old, 27-year-old kid with all the money in the world, he should be able to pick where he wants to play. And it'll be tougher to leave Toronto after a championship. He'd get the Finals MVP. Could you imagine if that happened? He wins the championship and then he leaves.
Yep.
You think his name is dirt in San Antonio. Imagine what happens when he crosses the border again. That would be really, really tough. The guess here is that he's going to go to LA and maybe take those bullets. That'll be an interesting story if he does.
Very interesting. And yeah, he's a guy that's been very insulated from a lot of the noise, the media, the social media. He doesn't really do that stuff. So maybe he can withstand it better than others. But fascinating. This Finals is fascinating. What's coming up is fascinating. NBA is going to dominate a lot of our off-season talk, I think, in these coming weeks and months. So lots more to come.